Arthur Peterson considered the steering wheel of his son's Tesla a foreign object. For 50 years, his hands had known the worn leather of a dozen different cars. They understood the subtle vibrations of the road, the feel of tires gripping asphalt, the muscle memory of a lifetime spent in the driver's seat. He was 72, with eyes that had seen the birth of the interstate highway system, and a heart that still felt a thrill on an open road. But lately, a new feeling had crept in, a flicker of doubt on long drives, a fraction of a second delay in his reaction time, the quiet whisper of what if. Now staring at the sterile minimalist dashboard and the giant screen that felt more like a tablet than a car, he felt a deep primal skepticism. Technology, he was told, was the answer. But to Arthur, it felt like a surrender. He was about to find out he was wrong. This isn't a story about a car that drives itself. It's about the day a machine gave a driver back his confidence. The trip was a familiar one, a 300-mile stretch of highway from his quiet, suburban home to his son's house, where his 8-granddaughter Lily was waiting for him. It was a drive he cherished, a pilgrimage of grandfatherly love. But his wife Clara had noticed the exhaustion in his eyes after the last trip. "You gripped the wheel so tight," Archie had said, her voice laced with a gentle concern that felt heavier than any criticism. "Just let me book you a train ticket." His pride wouldn't allow it. But his son, Mark, a software engineer who spoke in a language of algorithms and updates, offered a compromise. "Dad, just take my Model Y, please. Just use the autopilot on the highway. It's not about being lazy, it's about being safe." Arthur had scoffed. "In the safest driver I know. I don't need a video game to do my job for me." Now, with his overnight bag in the frunk and the car's silent hum replacing the familiar rumble of an engine, his skepticism was a tangible passenger in the seat beside him. The first hour was a battle of wills. Arthur drove manually, his hands locked to 10 and 2, his eyes darting between the road, the mirrors, and the giant screen, displaying a digital version of the world around him. He felt the car was judging him, its little icons showing cars he had already seen, lanes he was already in. It felt redundant, a solution in search of a problem. But the highway? Miles began to accumulate, and with them a familiar fatigue began to set in his shoulders. The sun was bright, the traffic, a monotonous river of steel. He glanced at the screen with a sigh that felt like a betrayal of his driving experience. He double-tapped the stalk on the steering column. A gentle chime echoed in the silent cabin. A blue line appeared on the screen, a visualization of the car's intended path, and the steering wheel icon turned blue. Autopilot was engaged. His body was a knot of tension. His hands hovered inches from the wheel, ready to snatch control back at the slightest provocation. His foot hovered over the brake. The car maintained its speed, leaving a sensible, unchanging gap between itself and the car ahead. It steered through a long, sweeping curve with a smoothness he had to begrudgingly admit was perfect. It wasn't the dramatic hands-off wheel spectacle he had seen in online videos. It was calm. It was a partner, not a replacement. He forced himself to relax his shoulders just a little. He rested a hand lightly on the wheel as the car required. The constant minute corrections he would normally be making were now being handled for him. The mental energy he usually spent maintaining the perfect speed and lane position was suddenly free. He found himself looking out at the passing scenery, truly seeing it for the first time in years. He pointed out a hawk circling in the sky to Lily, who was engrossed in her book in the back seat. This was different. He wasn't just a stressed operator anymore. He was a relaxed captain overseeing the journey. Then it happened. They were in the middle lane, cruising at a steady 70 miles per hour. To his left, a large semi-truck lumbered along. To his right, a beat-up sedan was erratically changing speeds. Arthur was watching the truck, keeping a wary eye on its massive tires, when the sedan suddenly, without a signal, swerved into his lane, aiming for a gap that wasn't there. Arthur's mind registered the danger instantly. A surge of adrenaline shot through him. His foot slammed down towards the brake pedal. But before his own muscle and bone could complete the command, something else happened. The Tesla, his silent guardian, had already seen it. There was no violent swerve, no screech of tires. There was only a firm, decisive, and incredibly smooth application of the brakes. The car decelerated rapidly but with perfect composure, instantly creating a safe cushion of space behind the reckless sedan. The chime for a forward collision warning barely had time to sound before the event was over. It all happened in less than 2 seconds. Arthur's heart was pounding, but the car was serene, already resuming its set speed as the sedan corrected itself and sped off. He looked in the rearview mirror. Lily hadn't even looked up from her book. The event had been so seamlessly handled. It was a non-event for his passenger in that moment. Everything crystallized. The real benefit of autopilot wasn't about checking emails or watching movies. It wasn't about the car driving for you. It was about the silent, vigilant co-pilot that never got tired, never got distracted, and had reflexes measured in milliseconds. It was the guardian that watched the road when he took a half-second to glance at a hawk in the sky. It was the safety net that caught the one mistake in 1,000 that could change everything. It didn't replace his 50 years of experience. It augmented it. It made his experience safer. Lily, his mind wasn't still buzzing from the stress of the highway. He arrived at his son's house, feeling not drained and tense, but relaxed and present when he hugged. He was just there in the moment. The drive had been a pleasure, not a test of endurance. The technology hadn't been a surrender. It had been a liberation. Arthur's story isn't about a futuristic fantasy, it's about a practical reality. The real benefit of technologies like autopilot isn't about replacing the driver, it's about supporting them. It's an invisible layer of safety, a silent guardian that works to prevent the unthinkable, reducing the fatigue and stress that lead to mistakes. It's not about a car, it's about a safer car. But that's just one story. I want to hear yours for longer. Have you ever had a car's safety feature, whether it's from Tesla or any other brand, kick in to help you in a critical moment? What did that feel like? Do you believe this kind of technology helps good drivers stay safe on the road? Share your silent guardian story in the comments below. Let's talk about the real future of driving.